Hello. Now let's try to understand the 555 timer being used as Astable Multivibrator or Monostable. You see, the pin connections are very easy to remember. When pin number 2 and 6 are sorted, it is Astable Multivibrator. When pin number 6 and 7 sorted, which we will see later, is Monostable. Monostable means one pulse. Now let's see the first, the Astable. The Astable is, and rest all connections are very standard. 4 and 8, 4 being the reset pin, has to be connected to positive supply. 3 is the output, and 7 is called the discharge, and 5th is a point where you have to connect a capacitor. Okay, it is immaterial whether you connect this or not very essential, but the arrangement is such that this particular capacitor C1 charges via R3 and R2. That means it charges by this. That means this is a 50k resistor, this is a 100k resistor. So charging path is 50 plus 100, 150k. So you find it is taking longer time, right? And the discharging path is, and the charging is, the moment it reaches 2/3 of the voltage, we are given 5 volt supply. So you can see if it is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's 5 volt. So once, let's see only the blue graph. We'll see the yellow graph little later. And it charges from 1/3 voltage to 2/3 voltage. When it reaches 2/3 voltage, this point goes to ground. Pin number 7 goes to ground. So what happens? Now this capacitor which has charged already will start discharging by this path. So it starts discharging, but the moment it reaches 1/3, but at this point, this 2 and 6 sorted point, this particular point reaches 1/3, it again starts charging. And once it reaches 2/3, again this point becomes 0, so it starts discharging. That means charging path is this way to the capacitor, and discharging path for the capacitor is this way. Alright. Now the arrow which you see here is the charging path. Now it is coming this way, this way, this way, and this is the charging path. Now if you would like to see the discharging path, see, this is the discharging path. How? This goes this way and this way, the discharging path. So from 1/3 to 2/3 is the charging path, and 2/3 to 1/3 is the discharging path. Why discharging path is shorter? Because discharging path is 100k. Charging path was 100 plus 150k, this way. That is why charging path was longer, and based on this you get the output like this. During the charging, the output pin goes high. Output pin goes high. This is the output pin. And during discharging, the output pin goes low. So based on these values, you can choose the duty cycle of this pulse. Whether now it appears to be about, say, 60% on time and 40% off time. So this is how you can choose as far as the duty cycle is concerned for the project that you are trying to do. Now let's see once it is in monostable. In monostable, it is 6 and 7 sorted, 6 and 7 sorted, and the capacitor charging takes place like this. It charges via R6 and then C3, discharges via again 7, and we'll see what is the typical arrangement of this. And the discharge happens only if trigger pin, we call it pin number 2 or trigger pin, goes low. Otherwise, when we switch on, when we first switch on, what happens? If it is up till now the output is 0. Pin number 3 output is 0. Now once pin number 2 is driven low, let's see what happens. Once I momentarily drive pin number 2 low, that is low triggering, you see the output yellow goes high, and this goes on increasing. This charging capacitor goes on increasing. Moment it reaches 2/3 volt, output will again fall to 0. See, the output had fallen to 0. See it once again. Now output is 0. Okay, output is 0. Now I trigger it to low. See, the output has gone high and this capacitor starts charging now. It goes on charging, goes on charging. After it reaches 2/3 volt, it will fall to ground. You see, the output fell to ground. After it reaches 2/3 volt, after this capacitor voltage reaches 2/3 volt, it falls to ground, and that is the only one pulse. As long, if I give one more pulse, again same thing will happen. That means this is used for a monostable application where we want one pulse and the whole thing is done accordingly. Only one pulse that comes